Have you ever wondered what Michael Jackson would look like if he was in an anime? Ever since I was a kid, I've been the biggest MG fan, and I always wondered why the hell he never popped up in any anime. Like, he's literally the king of pop, bro. No, not that guy. There we go. The man had so much aura, you'd get goosebumps just hearing his name, Michael Jackson. Oh my God. When the new biopic dropped recently, I knew it was time to bring my childhood dream to life. So, ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I'm gonna try to slide the king of pop right into Jujutsu Kaisen to take on the strongest sorcerer ever, Satoru Gojo. I don't wanna hear it. Gojo is stronger than Sukuna, and if you disagree, fight me in comments. For these insane projects, I'm gonna try to work like a legit MAPPA studio animator. I'm talking flawless, ultra fluid animation, and especially those gorgeous explosive colors from JJK season 3, and I gotta pull all of this off in only 3 weeks. Not gonna lie, this is gonna be absolutely brutal, guys. Before diving in this psychotic project, I need to stock up on some calories. Like, a real soldier never goes to the war without his snack, so we got 2 Snickers to boost my brain cells, some ice cream to stop my mind for overheating, and of course we've got 3 bananas. Honestly, banana roll. Let me take a bite real quick. A little ice cream too. Not gonna lie, bro. This is insane. First order of business is gathering references for MG character design. Check out the mood board of all images that caught my eyes. And yeah, there's a ton of them. Honestly, Michael Jackson was basically a fictional character in real life. Even his insane vibe and his iconic outfit, it's still wild to me that we share the same era with this absolute legend. Trust me, 100 years from now, people will still be talking about him. The man has fans who aren't even born yet, even though he left us 17 years ago. Bro literally set the bar on the moon before we leave. For the character design, I wanted something completely seamless. I'm gonna integrate MG as a student at the Tokyo Jujutsu High, which means he has to wear the standard uniform, but completely customized with his signature drip. I already did a quick sketch of the direction I wanted to take in my sketchbook, so we're gonna build all that. Thriller was my favorite song as a kid, right after Smooth Criminal, so I took inspiration from the shape of that iconic jacket. Next, I needed the absolute essential to instantly lock in Michael's identity: his armband, the fedora, and of course the white socks, which are his absolute trademark. But at first I felt like it didn't really give off that JJK vibe, so I took notes from the character who carried the last season on his back. The GOAT, the big boss, Yuta Okotsu. That episode was absolute masterpiece. I literally lost my mind watching that god tier animation. Honestly, MAPPA fade is so good. I've always loved Yuta uniform. The fact that it's all white highlights his innocence and make him stand out from everyone else. But what I love the most is the insane volume of his jacket sleeve. It looks amazing and ultra useful for adding massive dynamic and motion when the wind hits during action scenes. So I adapted all of that onto MG's uniform, a red jacket and a black pants to echo the B-rated music video, and a gold armband because Michael Jackson loves God. And it looks like this, pretty clean, right? But I still feel like I didn't fully master his character proportion in 3D space. To animate him flawless, I desperately needed a professional character shape from every angle, front, profile, 3/4 to understand how his clothes and structure react. The issue, we only have 3 weeks total, and drawing a clean, complete character sheet by hand from scratch will take me days. That's when, sitting on my throne during a moment of deep, intense reflection, I had an absolute stroke of genius. I remember the ultimate cheat code for creators, Meshy AI. To put it simply, this is hand down the best AI 3D generator on the market, used by over 6 million creators worldwide. And talk about perfect timing, Meshy 6 just dropped. These guys went from basic AI generated models to legitimate production ready assets in literally seconds. Check out the creative workflow, it's magic. I already had my clean drawing of MG, but there was a massive issue for 3D. In my sketch, he is tricking a stylish pose with his arm passed against his body and his torso slightly tilted. If I drop that directly into the AI, the arm will fuse into the jacket, making it impossible to move. So to get a clean 3D asset, he needs to stand perfectly straight with his arm spread out. So I use Nano Banana tool directly in the chat to strengthen up my reference image and separate his arm. Once the visual was fixed, I hit image to 3D. In a flash, AI cooked up this ultra clean 3D model with zero mesh fusion. And the best part for animators and 3D artists is that Meshy features GCC bridge. This means you can instantly send your generated model directly into Blender, Maya, or Unreal Engine with just a few clicks to start working on your projects right away. Note, if your generation need a minor tweaks, definitely check the community tab in the Meshy gallery. There are some absolutely games showing what the engine can really do. Then I just exported the model from Meshy and threw it straight into Blender. Since the arm were perfectly separated, I added a quick rig, a virtual skeleton to articulate the character, set him up in a stylish pose, and export my render from every angle. It's the ultimate hack to build a professional character sheet. Seriously guys, this saves an insane amount of time during pre-production. If you want to supercharge your workflow, whether you are an animator, game designer, or just a tech nerd, Meshy 6 is officially live. Also, they just dropped their brand new 3D agent, which is the world's first AI agent for 3D. Click my exclusive link at the very top of the description to snap up a massive 50% off your subscription. Hey, it's the perfect time to jump in, so don't sleep on it. Here is the storyboard. We've got 7 cuts total to bring this animation to life. You're probably thinking that less than usual, right? True, but for this project, I chose to focus on quality over quantity. I wanted this animation to kick explosively. In the first shot, we're getting a straight up face-to-face clash between MG and Gojo to show the tension is at an all-time height. Next up, for cut 2, I wanted a cinematic angle, the kind of framing Mappa always goes crazy with. I placed the camera right behind Gojo to give the shot massive depth and perspective. Right after, Gojo delivers a massive kick to MG, sending him flying and spinning like a little tornado in shot 3. I took direct inspiration from that iconic spine Michael Jackson always did on stage to make this scene pop. But wait, how can you talk about Michael Jackson without including the legendary Moonwalk? Hell yeah, guys. For shot 4, I wanted to maximize the dynamic to keep it look ultra cool. So we got MG pulling off a flawless glitch evade Moonwalk to dodge Gojo's incoming attack. In cut 5, we find MG locking into his iconic pose, getting ready to unleash his curse technique. I thought it would be dope to give him a technique that should compress cursed energy like a missile, because MG absolutely loves pyrotechnic and crazy explosion on stage. For cut 6, I wanted something uber dynamic in the pure style of Yutaka Nakamura. This is the second of the last cut of the animation, so we gotta put everything neat to finish strong. We're gonna have Michael Jackson's cursed energy projectile blasting at the speed of light straight at Gojo. And for the grand final, we're getting a spectacular scene with the Titanic explosion and Michael Jackson flexing his aura right in front of the flame to establish absolute dominance, just like Sukuna in Shibuya. Storyboard is logged in. Let's jump straight into cut 1. By the way, I'm using Clip Studio Paints for everyone asking every time in comment. If anyone dare to ask me this question again after this, seriously, I'm sending you straight to go spar with Jogo. Animating 2 characters at the same time on the same frame has always been a massive pain in the ass, and I hate it, but we got no choice. The people want hype, we're gonna give them hype. So I started with the goat Gojo laying down the rough sketch to get a solid foundation. I have always loved drawing this character. His design is just flawless. For this animation, we are using his look from the fight against Sukuna. He looks so damn imposing like this. Also, I don't know if it's just me, but the bro definitely bulked up, right? Early in the series, he had a slim model build. Here, I made him thick with a killer smile to show you how much fun he's having. I repeated exact same process for MG, making sure he blended perfectly into the JJK art style. Next, we move to the cleanup, refining the details, and honestly, it's already looking crazy good. Right after, we map out the shadow layer before tackling the in-between. Not gonna lie, this part was absolute hell because it's so tedious and repetitive, but thankfully, we are finally at my favorite part, coloring. I started with MJ to check the vibe. I dropped every flat color and added crisp self-shading true to Mappa style. Piece by piece, the magic happens and it started looking insanely crisp. Keep in mind, the goals stay studio level quality, so zero room for mistakes. We change right into Gojo to wrap up this first cut. And for the icing on cake, I added lightning sparks. Don't ask me where they come from, I have no clue, but as long as it makes the cut 10 times better, I'm buying. Check out this first look. 1 single second of animation took me a whole week of hard labor. That's the terrifying part about traditional animation. I only have 2 freaking weeks left to finish the remaining 6 cuts. Now you guys see the scale of this project. I just hope I don't lose my mind halfway through. The composition of the second cut was the key to elevate this animation to a professional level. Usually my shots lack facial depth. They tend to look flat, which is super common for beginners animator. But today I wanted to step way out of my comfort zone. That's why I put camera behind Gojo to emphasize the perspective and show off Michael Jackson. You guys had to see this outfit. I didn't work my ass off on his design just for you to miss it because it was hidden by the framing. Alright, we've got our keyframe for the base and now we move to the in-betweens to smooth out the motion. But as you know, it's exhausting and I have exactly 1 week and 5 days left. Weekends included to finish everything. So I asked myself one question. How do I optimize my time to speed up the pace? Normally, a project this big should take me 2 months. How do I pull this off in a week and a half? That's all the time I've left. And that's when I realized I was an absolute idiot. Usually when I color my animations, I pre-select all my palettes, the flats, the shadows, the highlights for every single layer. The problem is this technique takes an absolute eternity. Even if the final look is super satisfying, if I kept doing that, the math didn't add up. I was gonna completely miss my deadline. So I hopped onto Google to find the miracle fix. Okay, faster shading, 2D animation, Clip Studio Paint. Google came back with this and let me read it out loud for you. One of the fastest and most efficient way to shade 2D animation in Clip Studio Paint is the cell shading style. It involves using a clipping mask with the multiple blending mode which allows sharp shadows. We'll easily change the base color later. Bro, why didn't anyone tell me about this earlier? Shit, I can't believe I wasted a whole week when I could have just dropped this method. Let's test it right now on this cut. I draw the shadow areas on a separated layer to activate later. Then I dump the flat colors across the whole animation without worrying about shadows. Once that's done, I just switch my shadow layer to multiply and drop the opacity. The real animation nerds will understand this jargon, and boom, there it is, guys. Seriously, why did nobody mention this psychotic cheat code? Nah, you guys are fake for that. Watching the bro suffer in silence without saying anything? Yo, I see you. Today, we are tackling cut 3 and the goal is to finish it today. Since it's pretty chill and straightforward, it's literally just MG spinning. No need to overload the drawing with details here since he is moving ultra fast. I can finally catch my breath. It's a pretty simple cut on paper, but that doesn't mean I can't make it look sick. I gave him a dynamic trajectory by making him levitate to emphasize his insane speed, and I added the ground catching fire on his path. The man is so fast that the air friction creates intense terminal heats that literally melts the environment. For the first time ever, I also decided to animate the background. I wanted to try it out, and honestly guys, animated background are slept on, but it adds crazy dynamic and look ultra professional. As you can see, I used 1 point perspective to push that raw speed effect. We color it in and it gives us this. I got to relax on that shot, but the worst is yet to come. Cut 4, the one where I have to animate a moonwalk. I knew this wasn't gonna be a walk in park, so I prepared myself to endure the incoming stress. Alright, I'm locked in. Bring it on. Cut 4. But before drawing a single line, I forced myself to do an hour of intense dancing. What? Are you guys shocked? I absolutely had to get into the King of Pop's headspace to understand the exact mechanic of his body when he performed the moonwalk. Last fun fact, I was a dancer back in the day, between age of 10 and 17. At school, they literally called me Jackson because I copied all his moves. I dressed like MJ, I walked like MJ, I basically slept like him. Even when I ate something too hot, I'd pull off a... Long story short, animating the moonwalk should be a piece of cake for me cause I know the steps, not to brag. To perfect my preferences, I deselected several clips of MG on the stage, especially the legendary performance of Billie Jean where he debuted the move to the wall, and here the result of the first rough. Yeah, I know exactly what you're thinking behind your screen. This looks shit. Haha, you just don't have the vision yet. Let the magic work, don't worry. I sped through cleanup. I made sure to emphasize those iconic white socks he always wore in concert. Honestly, did you guys know Michael Jackson was an absolute marketing and visual genius? Most people think he wore white socks, single glove, or finger bandages just for style. But the hidden objective was completely different. Michael Jackson was the ultimate master of illusion. By the way, I wanted to make illusion his curse technique in animation, but I completely forgot. He picked up on visual details that normal people missed. If he wore those white accessories, it was to guide the audience eyes exactly where he wanted. He danced, he engaged his whole body, but the core accents were on his legs, hands, and hips. By adding white to those high movement area, he boosted visual contrast to stamp his moves directly into our brain. If someone show you this exact image, you know instantly who it is, unless you were born in 2012. However, I couldn't just have him slide back with the classic moonwalk, otherwise the animation wouldn't make sense. I had to respect the continuously of cut 3 where he launched at full speed. We need momentum consistency, so I invented a brand new concept, the relativist ultra fast moonwalk. Yeah, okay, I admit it, the name sucks. Give me a dope attack name for this moonwalk in comments. Can't wait to see your genius ideas. I used the exact same cheats formula for the shadows, and since I wanted his socks look textured and elegant, I added fine hatching lines to mimic the fabric knit, a few quick interval lines, some debris flyby to give the camera momentum. We hit it with color, and look at this absolute masterpiece. Guys, honestly, sometimes I scare myself, know what I'm saying? With these first 4 cuts, we already burned through 2 whole weeks of production. We only have 7 days to finalize the last 3 shots. Anyone who has been following me for a bit now know my phobia of project ending. It's always when the stress peaks, but it's also when I give everything to feed you guys a straight up masterclass. So I decided to take a quick breath, recharging my batteries and connecting with nature before the final show down. Next, the soldier needs fuel. What's better than a massive heavy burger to fight the final boss? Back at the studio, time for business. Only 5 days left on the clock. I'm gonna grind this last 3 shots in one single run, pulling back to back all-nighter. No way am I sacrificing quality to drop trash. Not happening. When I start a project, I finish it at the top whatever it takes. That's warrior mindset. For this 5th cut, I needed massive setup, an iconic pose that acts as a trigger for his curse technique, that concentrated missile of cursed energy. I choose that legendary stance everyone know instantly. The massive upside to this shot is that MG stays static. I'm just gonna animate his clothes and hair reacting to the wind pressure. But you guys know me by now. I hate taking the easy way out. I love it when it's complicated. That's what makes my skills jump to the next level. Always aim for ambitious shots. So to elevate this static frame, I brought back my old school deep coloring method, and I'm gonna treat it by taking direct cues from Mappa's art direction. Tell me, in your opinion, what makes Mappa's shows look so premium? It's not just the compositing, it's primarily how they handle shadows and highlight sources. Look at this shot of the goat's Nanami. Notice anything? Okay, what about this one of Mei Mei? Or even this one? Now you guys getting the picture? MAPPA doesn't animate, they make cinema. Most anime settle for a single global light source. MAPPA drops 2, sometimes even more on a single character. And that's exactly what we're doing to give this shot an insane vibe. I move to the cleanup of the body, I map out the shadows and the contrast zone based on my 2 distinct light sources. It's super technical but incredibly rewarding to master. And now, hour of truth. We apply the colors. Look at that. Honestly, it's insane, guys. This is probably the cleanest shot I've drawn to date. Right after this one, obviously. Next, I add his cursed energy sphere. I wanted it to materialize instantly with a ton of energy particles crashing into each other to form the core. To wrap it all, I threw in some hard-hitting impact frame and hide few Easter eggs in there. Here are the results. The last shot took me 3 whole days of non-stop grinding. I'm exhausted, I'm not gonna lie, but no time to sleep up. We only have 2 days left before the deadline hits. For the 6th cut, I wanted a dynamic sequence paying homage to Taka Nakamura's style. So I animated the trajectory of the energy sphere moving at the light speed, paired with an immersive first-person camera move, like the comparison is struggling to track the projectile speed before hard zoom right into Gojo's eyes. For this shot, I applied the fast cel shading method and there's the result. It's day J, the deadline expires in exactly 5 hours and still have the very last shot to do. MG flexing his aura in front of a titanic explosion, a completely impossible timeline. That's when survival instincts kicked in. I quickly animated a few frames for the wind movement on his clothes, and for the explosion, I remembered I already animated a massive blast on my previous project, Luffy vs Jinwoo. So I dug up the source file, grabbed the dust explosion animation, and don't worry, we're gonna turn that into a gorgeous fire explosion with 2 clicks during compositing. I added a quick wind blast effect and we are ready to roll. All that left is painting, final backgrounds, and moving to crucial step, compositing. To keep the action clean, I went with minimalist backdrops. I exported all my layers and dropped everything into After Effects. Since my lines were pixelated, I applied the OLM Smoother plugin to clean the edges, then ran a ton of complex tweaks, color grading, glow, motion blur. That will take way too longer to explain here to get that perfect look. Finally, I dropped the sound design to give weight to every single impact, and we're finally good to go. I gave everything I had in the tank to bring you guys high tier quality as always. If you want to support the project or just thank me for the all-nighter, hit subscribe and smash the like button. It helps the video to get picked up by the algorithm immediately. Without further ado, enjoy the final animation.